Hello, friend. I am Neil Tyson, and tonight I will be your guide on a journey through the elegant, curving architecture of the universe. Welcome to this special edition of Night Whisper Science, a place where we allow the mysteries of the cosmos to lull us into a state of deep, restorative rest. Tonight, we are not looking outward at the chaotic explosion of stars, nor are we looking at the rapid pace of light. Instead, we are turning our gaze to something slower, something infinite and profoundly soothing. We are going to explore the mathematics of spirals. There is a shape that nature loves above all others. It is not the square with its sharp corners and rigid edges. It is not the straight line which rushes endlessly from point A to point B without pausing to breathe. No, nature's favorite shape is the spiral. It is the shape of the path that leads us inward. It is the shape of unwinding, of letting go, of returning to the center. Tonight, I invite you to visualize a slow, winding path. It is smooth and gentle, curving softly to the left, then continuing its graceful arc. This is the path into sleep. It does not demand that you arrive anywhere instantly. It simply asks you to follow the curve, step by gentle step, drifting deeper into relaxation with every turn. As we begin, let yourself settle into your own space. Feel the weight of your body resting, supported by the gravity that holds the planets in their orbits. Let your breathing find a rhythm, like the slow rhythmic tides that are pulled by the moon. Inhale and picture a spiral expanding. Exhale and picture it coiling back in, safe and secure. We are going to count down, not with numbers of urgency, but with facts of wonder. 100 relaxing facts about the spiral, winding us down toward the center of dreams. Let us drift back in time to find the origin of this fascination. Long before we had telescopes to see the galaxies or microscopes to see our own DNA, we had the simple, tactile sensation of drawing in the sand. This brings us to our first realization, a simple truth about the spiral's geometry. The spiral is defined as a curve which emanates from a point, moving farther away as it revolves around the point. Imagine for a moment that you are standing on a vast, quiet beach at twilight. The air is cool, and the only sound is the rhythmic hush of the ocean. You take a stick and place it in the wet sand. You begin to turn, dragging the stick. If you stayed in one place, you would draw a circle, a closed loop. But you are moving. You are walking slowly away from the center, even as you turn. The line you draw is the spiral. It is the marriage of rotation and expansion. It is the geometry of growth itself. In the ancient world, this shape was revered. This brings us to the work of Archimedes, the great thinker of Syracuse. Over 2,000 years ago, he sat in his study, surrounded by the quiet hum of the Mediterranean coast, and wrote a treatise simply titled On Spirals. It is a calming thought, is it not, to think of a scholar centuries ago dedicating his days to understanding the perfect curve. Archimedes described what we now call the Archimedean spiral. Imagine a small insect crawling along the second hand of a clock. The hand is turning, ticking slowly around the face. The insect is crawling outward from the center at a steady pace. The path the insect traces in the air is the Archimedean spiral. It is balanced. It is steady. The distance between the loops remains constant, like the grooves on a vinyl record or a rope coiled neatly on the deck of a ship. Visualize that rope now, a heavy, golden hemp rope, warm from the sun. It is being coiled by a sailor with calloused, gentle hands. He lays one loop down and then the next, perfectly nestled against the first. Round and round it goes, creating a flat disk of comforting order. This is the essence of the Archimedean spiral. It represents consistency. It suggests that no matter how far we travel from the center, the spacing of our lives, the rhythm of our days, can remain constant and composed. As we move deeper into history, we find the spiral carved into the very bones of the earth. In Ireland, at the ancient site of Newgrange, there is a massive stone acting as a guardian to the entrance. Carved into this rock is a triple spiral, a triskel. It has been there for 5,000 years. Before the pyramids were finished, before the great empires rose, someone took a stone chisel and tap, 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 creating these winding lines. They did not have lasers or computers. They had patience. They had the slow passage of time. When you look at these ancient spirals, there is no beginning and no end. The eye follows the line inward, reaches the center, and then naturally flows back out to loop into the next spiral. It is a symbol of eternal return. It tells us that sleep is not an end, but a curve in the road, a necessary turn that leads to renewal. Drawing a spiral is an act of meditation. This is another fact to hold on to. When you draw a circle, you must be precise. You must close the loop perfectly. But a spiral? A spiral is forgiving. You can start tight and wind outward, or start wide and wind inward. The motion of the hand is rhythmic. It mimics the stirring of tea in a cup, the swirling of water in a basin, the gentle rotation of a falling leaf. It is the most natural motion of the wrist. Perhaps that is why we find it so soothing to doodle spirals when our minds are wandering. It is a way for our subconscious to unwind, to release the tension of straight lines and hard angles. Let's focus now on the tactile sensation of the spiral. Imagine a piece of slate, cool and dark. You have a piece of soft white chalk. You place the chalk in the center. You feel the grain of the stone. You begin to move the chalk. You can hear the soft scratching sound, a pink noise that hushes the world. The line grows. It curves. It widens. You are creating a galaxy on a piece of stone. There is a profound stillness in this act. The world outside the spiral ceases to exist. There is only the moving point, the expanding curve, the quiet unfolding of geometry. The spiral also teaches us about the relationship between the point and the infinite. A spiral can occupy a finite space, yet the line itself can be infinitely long if it continues to wind tighter and tighter. This is a paradox, but a gentle one. It suggests that within the limited hours of the night, there is an infinite capacity for rest. We do not need more time. We simply need to travel deeper into the time we have, winding further into the center of the moment. Archimedes was so captivated by these curves that he studied the area they enclosed. He found elegant ratios and relationships, proving that math is not just cold calculation, but a language of harmony. He showed that the area of the spiral relates perfectly to the circle that encloses it. It fits, it belongs. Everything in the universe has a place, just as you have a place here, in this bed, in this moment of quiet. Let us step away from the scratch of chalk and the ancient stones and move toward the numbers themselves. We are entering the realm of the golden ratio. This is where mathematics becomes poetry. There is a number, a special, irrational number, approximately 1.618. We call it phi. It is the golden number. It represents a proportion that is universally pleasing to the human eye and fundamentally efficient for nature. It is the number of ideal growth. To understand this, we must look at a simple sequence of numbers, introduced to the West by a mathematician named Leonardo of Pisa, known to history as Fibonacci. Imagine a quiet room in Italy, centuries ago. Leonardo is counting. He starts with nothing, 0. Then a spark of existence, 1. He adds them together. 0 plus 1 is 1. Now he has 2 ones. He adds them. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. 5 plus 8 is 13. And so it goes. 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89. The sequence grows, gently and steadily. Each number is the sum of the two before it. It is a family tree of numbers, each generation supporting the next. But here is the magic. If you take any two adjacent numbers in this sequence, say 55 and 34, and divide the larger by the smaller, you get a number very close to the golden ratio, 1.618. As the numbers get larger, the division gets closer and closer to this perfect proportions. It is as if the numbers themselves are striving for perfection, reaching out toward a divine harmony. Now, how does this turn into a spiral? Imagine a rectangle, a golden rectangle. Its sides are in the proportion of the golden ratio. It is pleasing to look at, not too long, not too square, just right. Now, let's slice a square off of this rectangle. What remains is a smaller rectangle, but it is still a golden rectangle. It has the same perfect proportions. We can do it again, slice off a square, and again, and again. We are creating a spiraling set of whirling squares, getting smaller and smaller, descending into the infinite. If you take a compass and draw a curve through the corners of these squares, you create the golden spiral. This is the curve of beauty. It is the curve that starts wide and graceful and winds tighter and tighter, but never loses its shape. It is self-similar. This means that if you were to zoom in on the spiral with a microscope or zoom out with a telescope, the curve looks exactly the same. It is a symbol of consistency amidst change. It tells us that deep down, at the core of things, the pattern remains the whole. The you that is resting now is the same you that was a child, the same you that will be in the future, held together by the golden thread of your own existence. Visualizing the golden spiral is a powerful relaxation technique. Close your eyes and picture a large, soft canvas. Paint a broad, sweeping curve of deep indigo. Watch it turn. As it turns, it changes color slightly, perhaps to a calming violet, then to a soft blue. It winds inward, becoming smaller, tighter, but never frantic. It flows like liquid. It is the shape of a wave curling before it breaks. It is the shape of a fern unfurling in a damp, quiet forest. This brings us to the botany of relaxation. Nature is the great mathematician. She does not use a calculator. She uses instinct and efficiency. Consider the sunflower. Picture a field of sunflowers in the late afternoon. The sun is dipping low, casting a warm golden light over the petals. The heavy heads of the flowers are nodding gently in the breeze. If you look closely at the center of a sunflower, you will see a dense packing of seeds. They are not arranged in random chaos. They are arranged in perfect spirals. There are spirals winding clockwise and spirals winding counterclockwise. If you were to count them, you would often find that the number of spirals is a number from the Fibonacci sequence. You might count 34 spirals one way and 55 the other, or 55 and 89. Why? Because this arrangement allows the sunflower to pack the most seeds into the smallest space. It is the most efficient way to grow. It ensures that each seed gets its share of sunlight and rain. Nature is not wasteful. She is careful. She is precise. And in that precision, there is a deep sense of care. Everything is provided for. Every seed has its place. The same is true for the pine cone. Imagine holding a pine cone in your hand. Feel the woody texture, the rough edges of the scales. Run your thumb along the pattern. You are tracing a spiral. The spiral up the cone, wrapping around the central axis. This geometry protects the seeds inside. It allows the cone to close up tightly when it is cold or damp, sealing the seeds in a warm embrace, and to open up when it is warm and dry, releasing them to the earth. The spiral is a mechanism of protection. It is a shield. It is a fortress of geometry that keeps the life inside safe until the time is right to awaken. Consider the pineapple. Its rough skin is a tessellation of hexagons, but they are arranged in helical curves. The leaves of a plant, growing up a stem, often follow a spiral path. This is called phyllotaxis. The plant sends out a leaf,
then grows a little higher and sends out another, but it turns slightly. It turns by an angle related to the golden ratio. This ensures that the new leaf does not shade the old leaf. It allows the plant to catch the maximum amount of rain, channeling the water down the spiral staircase of the stem right to the roots. It is a system of abundance. The spiral shape gathers resources. It gathers light. It gathers water. It gathers energy. Just as the plant spirals to gather what it needs, you can spiral your thoughts to gather peace. Imagine your mind is like the stem of a plant. Let your thoughts spiral gently. Do not let one thought block the light of another. Let them turn, let them drift, arranging themselves in a pattern that allows the light of relaxation to touch every part of your consciousness. Let us move from the forest to the sea. The ocean is a cradle of spirals. We stand on the shore and listen to the waves. Whoosh, pause, whoosh. The rhythm is hypnotic. Beneath the surface, in the quiet blue depths, creatures are building their homes with mathematics. The most famous of these is the chambered nautilus. The nautilus is a living fossil. It has drifted in the deep oceans for millions of years. It builds a shell that is a logarithmic spiral. As the creature grows, it needs a larger room. It builds a new, larger chamber and seals off the old one behind it. It moves forward, always living in the newest, largest room, but carrying the history of its past growth behind it in a beautiful, spiraling coil. The nautilus does not discard its past. It integrates it into a structure of beauty. This spiral is special. It is equiangular. That means if you draw a line from the center to the edge of the spiral, the angle at which the line meets the curve is always the same. Constant angle. Constant shape. As the nautilus grows, it does not change its shape. It only changes its size. It scales up perfectly. This is a comforting thought. We grow, we learn, we experience new things, but the core essence of who we are remains constant. We are equiangular beings spiraling through time, maintaining our true angles even as we expand. Imagine the texture of a seashell. Smooth, cool, polished by the sand and the sea. It fits perfectly in the palm of your hand. Trace the spiral on its surface. It feels like a path leading inward to a place of silence. When you hold a large shell to your ear, you hear the ocean. But really, you are hearing the echo of your own blood, the quiet hum of your own life amplified by the spiral geometry. The shell focuses the sound, just as it focuses your attention.
It is a listening device for the soul. Shells spiral to the right or to the left. Most spiral to the right, following the movement of the sun across the sky. This is called chirality or handedness. Nature has a preference, a subtle bias towards a certain direction of flow. It is a gentle reminder that there is an order to things, a current that we can swim with rather than against. Relax into that current. Let the flow of the universe take you. You do not need to steer. The spiral knows the way. Now let us look at the water itself. Water loves to spiral. When you pull the plug in a bathtub, the water does not rush straight down. It circles. It forms a vortex. It spins. This is the path of least resistance. The water organizes itself to flow efficiently. It creates a hollow core of air, a quiet center around which everything spins. Even in the drain, there is structure. Even in the letting go, there is a pattern. Think of a gentle stream flowing over rocks. Behind a large stone, the water curls back on itself in a small, quiet eddy. It spins lazily, trapping a few leaves that float in circles. This is a spiral of rest. The main current rushes by, but in the spiral eddy, the water pauses. It takes a moment to breathe. Your mind can be that eddy. Let the main current of the day's worries flow past. You are in the sheltered spiral behind the stone. You are simply floating, turning slowly, watching the world go by without needing to join it. In the atmosphere, the air spirals. High above us, huge masses of air are turning. Low-pressure systems spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. This is the Coriolis effect, born from the rotation of the Earth itself. The planet is spinning, and the air dances in response. These great spirals bring us rain and wind, changing the seasons, turning the wheel of the year. Viewed from space, clouds form magnificent white spirals, stretching for thousands of miles. They are soft, fluffy, ephemeral. They drift and dissolve, reforming into new shapes. There is no rigidity in the clouds. They are pure flow. Visualize yourself lying on a grassy hill, watching these cloud spirals. They are moving so slowly that you can barely see the motion. They are lazy. They are heavy with sleep. They drift across the blue expanse, unwinding their vaporous trails. The sky is a canvas of slow motion. The wind that moves them is a gentle breath, a whisper from the atmosphere. Sometimes the wind sings. When wind passes over a wire or a branch, it creates tiny vortices, little spirals of air, shedding off the object. This creates a tone, a hum. The telephone wires singing in the wind are playing a song of spirals. It is a lullaby of fluid dynamics. The air is not empty. It is full of invisible, swirling patterns, caressing the world with their aerodynamic grace. Let us go deeper now, inward, into the very fabric of our being. We are made of spirals. The blueprint of life, the DNA molecule, is a double helix. Two spirals, winding around each other, connected by rungs like a twisting ladder. This is the library of you. Every instruction for how to build your eyes, your hands, your beating heart is encoded in this spiral. It is a structure of immense stability. The double spiral protects the information, keeping it safe inside the coil. You are built on a foundation of twisting geometry. Think of the proteins in your body. They fold into complex shapes, often incorporating spirals called alpha helices. These tiny springs give your tissues elasticity and strength. They allow your skin to stretch, your muscles to flex. You are flexible because you are built of spirals. You are resilient. When you are pressed down, you can spring back, thanks to the microscopic coils within your cells. But tonight, there is no need to spring back. Tonight, the coils can relax. They can lengthen. The tension can leave the springs. Even your hearing relies on a spiral. Deep inside your ear is the cochlea. It is shaped exactly like a snail shell. It is a fluid-filled spiral tube. When sound waves enter your ear, they travel up this spiral. The low notes resonate at the top of the spiral and the high notes at the bottom. Your body translates the chaotic vibrations of the air into the beautiful order of music and speech using a spiral instrument. You are listening to my voice right now through a spiral. It is the gateway of sound. It filters the noise and extracts the meaning. Let the spiral of your ear filter out the noise of the day. Let it accept only the soothing frequencies, the gentle tones of safety and rest. Consider the climbing vines in a garden, a morning glory or a bean plant. When it grows, the tip of the stem moves in a slow circle, searching for support. This is called circumnutation. It is a slow, rhythmic dance of the plant. When it finds a support, it wraps around it, forming a strong helix. It lifts itself up toward the light by spiraling.
It does not climb straight. It embraces its support. It hugs its way upward. There is a tenderness in this movement. It suggests that we rise not by force, but by connection. By winding ourselves around what supports us, our family, our home, our rest, we find the strength to grow. Now, let us expand our vision. Let us float up from the garden, up through the clouds, leaving the atmosphere behind. We are drifting into the velvet blackness of space. Here, silence reigns supreme. We are weightless. We turn our gaze to the galaxies. Most of the galaxies in the universe are spiral galaxies. The Milky Way, our home, is a magnificent barred spiral. Imagine it, a glowing core of light, yellowish and warm, surrounded by sweeping arms of blue and white stars.
These arms trail behind the rotation, curving gracefully through the dark void. We live in one of these arms, the Orion arm, a quiet suburb of the galaxy. We are drifting in a stream of stars. The stars in the spiral arms are not stuck there. They move in and out of the arms like cars moving through a traffic jam. The spiral arm is a density wave, a ripple of gravity that moves through the disk of the galaxy. It compresses the gas clouds, triggering the birth of new stars. The spiral is the nursery of the universe. It is where light is born. Think of the scale of this spiral. It takes the Sun 250 million years to complete one orbit around the center of the galaxy. This is a cosmic year. The last time we were in this position, dinosaurs were just beginning to roam the Earth. The spiral turns with a patience that is incomprehensible to us. It is a clock that ticks once every quarter of a billion years. In the face of such majesty, our daily worries become insignificantly small. They dissolve into the stardust. The galaxy turns, steady and slow, holding us in its gravitational embrace. We are safe on this great carousel of light. There are billions of spiral galaxies out there, spinning like pinwheels in the dark. Each one is an island universe, a swirl of matter and energy trying to find its center. They are the fingerprints of gravity. They show us that the universe is not static. It is dancing. It is turning. It is unwinding. Let's return to the concept of the golden spiral in space. The shape of hurricanes, the shape of galaxies, the shape of the whirlpool, they all echo that same logarithmic expansion. It is as if the universe has a favorite song and keeps humming it in different keys. From the microscopic DNA to the macroscopic galaxy, the theme repeats. You are part of this theme. You are not separate from the universe. You are a verse in its spiraling poem. You fit the pattern. As we drift deeper into the dream world, we encounter the concept of infinite spirals. Mathematics gives us the Mandelbrot set, a fractal shape that is endlessly complex. If you zoom in to the edge of the Mandelbrot set, you find spirals. And if you zoom into those spirals, you find more spirals, and more, and more. It never ends. No matter how deep you go, there is always more beauty to discover. This is the landscape of dreams. In dreams, time loops and curves. Places shift and turn. We are entering a realm where the logic of the straight line no longer applies. We are entering the realm of the fractal. Imagine falling softly into a fractal spiral. The colors are shifting, gently, mauve, teal, slate gray. The patterns are mesmerizing, turning slowly like a kaleidoscope. There is no bottom. You can fall forever, but it is not a scary fall. It is a floating sensation. You are supported by the math. You are cradled by the infinity. Consider the concept of a limit. In math, we can approach a limit forever without ever quite touching it. We get closer and closer, half the distance, then half again, then half again. This is Zeno's paradox, but tonight it is Zeno's lullaby. We are approaching the limit of sleep. We are getting closer and closer to that moment of pure unconsciousness. We slide halfway there, then halfway again. We are drifting on the asymptote of rest. The curve approaches the line of sleep, merging with it in the infinity of the night. Think of a pendulum. If you release a pendulum and let it swing, it traces an arc. If you were to release sand from the bottom of the pendulum while the surface beneath it rotated, it would draw a spiral. The back and forth motion, combined with rotation, creates the coil. Your breathing is the pendulum. In and out, the world is rotating. The result is a spiral of relaxation, winding you down. Let's count a few more steps on this spiral staircase. We have seen the stone, the flower, the shell, the galaxy. Now let's see the abstract. Let's see the space between the numbers, the silence between the notes. The spiral is not just the line, it is the space that the line defines.
It is the empty air between the coils of the shell that allows it to resonate.
It is the dark space between the arms of the galaxy that makes the stars shine so bright. It is the quiet moments between your thoughts that allow you to sleep. Focus on the space. Focus on the gap. Let the spiral widen. Imagine a staircase, a spiral staircase made of white marble, polished and smooth. It is in a library, a vast circular room filled with the scent of old paper and vanilla. The staircase winds upward, but also downward. You are walking down. The steps are wide and shallow, easy to step. Your hand glides along the smooth wooden banister. The wood is cool. The curve is continuous. Down you go, round and round. With each full turn, you descend deeper into the library of dreams. The light is dimming, turning from a soft amber to a gentle twilight blue. There are books on the shelves, but they have no titles. They are books of quiet, books of stillness. You pass a window, and outside you see the night sky, the great spiral of the Milky Way slowly turning. You are connected to it. You are mirroring its motion. The number of steps is infinite, but you do not need to walk them all. You only need to walk until you are tired. And you are getting tired. Your legs feel heavy, pleasantly heavy. Your eyelids are heavy. The spiral is cradling you. Let's return to the Fibonacci numbers for a moment. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, deeper and deeper. 13, 21, relaxation multiplying. 34, breathing slowing. 55, thoughts drifting. 89, letting go. 144, the numbers are getting larger, softer, spreading out like a blanket. Think of the path of a moth flying toward a light. It often flies in a logarithmic spiral. It keeps the light at a constant angle to its eye. It is a navigation strategy. You are navigating towards sleep. Keep the feeling of comfort at a constant angle. Do not stare directly at it. Just keep it in your periphery and spiral gently toward it. You will arrive. It is inevitable. The geometry guarantees it. The spiral is also found in the horns of the ram, the curve of the elephant's trunk, the tail of the chameleon. Animals use this shape to curl up, to conserve heat, to feel safe. The cat curls into a circle, tucking its nose under its tail. It becomes a spiral of fur. It is the most vulnerable and the most protected position. Curl your mind up like that sleeping cat. Tuck your thoughts away. Create a closed loop of warmth. There is a type of spiral called the Nautilus. It is known as the crook or the bishop's staff. It spirals outward, but unlike the logarithmic spiral, it gets closer and closer to an asymptote. It is a trumpet shape. Imagine a soft, low note being played on a long, curved horn. The sound spirals out, widening, dispersing into the air until it is just a vibration, a feeling. Let the sound of my voice be that spiral. Let the words widen and disperse. You do not need to catch every meaning now. You only need to feel the vibration. The tone is safety. The rhythm is sleep. We are approaching the center of the labyrinth. In medieval cathedrals, they built labyrinths on the floor. These were not mazes. There were no dead ends. They were unicursal paths, one single winding line that led to the center. Pilgrims would walk them slowly, praying, meditating. The journey to the center was a journey inward to the soul. Tonight, you have walked the labyrinth. You have traced the curve of Archimedes, followed the growth of the Nautilus, soared with the galaxies. You are nearing the center. The center is a place of absolute stillness. It is the eye of the storm, where the winds are calm and the sky is clear. Visualize that center point. It is a single point of white light, soft and non-blinding. It is warm. It is waiting for you. As you spiral closer, the motion slows down. The spinning of the galaxy slows. The turning of the shell slows. The growing of the flower slows. Everything is coming to a gentle halt. You are a point on the curve, moving slower and slower. The friction of the day has worn off. The momentum of worry has dissipated. You are simply drifting on the current of the geometry. Feel the bed beneath you.
It is flat, but you are spiraling down into it, sinking into the softness. The blankets are a spiral wrapping around you, a cocoon of comfort. You are the seed in the pine cone. You are the nautilus in the shell. You are the star in the galaxy. You are home. The mathematics of the spiral is the mathematics of homecoming. It is the promise that we can always return to the center. No matter how far out we swing, the gravity of rest will pull us back. Rest now in the knowledge of this order. The universe is not random. It is patterned. It is held together by beautiful, elegant curves. You are safe within that design. You are held by the golden ratio. You are supported by the Fibonacci sequence. You are cradled by the laws of physics. As we conclude our journey through the mathematics of spirals, let the numbers fade away. Let the shapes dissolve.
All that is left is the feeling of the curve, the gentle turn, the soft descent. 100 facts, 100 steps, 100 stars. They are all blurring together now into a single, comforting glow. The spiral has done its work. It has unwound your mind. It has led you to the threshold of the dream world. Drift now, float on the curve. Let the spiral take you down, down, down into the velvet deep. Infinite dreams, my friend, infinite dreams. Hello, friend. I am Neil Tyson, and tonight I will be your guide on a journey through the elegant, curving architecture of the universe. Welcome to this special edition of Night Whisper Science, a place where we allow the mysteries of the cosmos to lull us into a state of deep, restorative rest. Tonight, we are not looking outward at the chaotic explosion of stars, nor are we looking at the rapid pace of light as it races across the void. Instead, we are turning our gaze to something slower, something infinite and profoundly soothing. We are going to explore the mathematics of spirals. There is a shape that nature loves above all others. It is not the square, with its sharp corners and rigid edges that demand an abrupt stop. It is not the straight line, which rushes endlessly from point A to point B without pausing to breathe. No, nature's favorite shape is the spiral. It is the shape of the path that leads us inward. It is the shape of unwinding, of letting go, of returning to the center. Tonight, I invite you to visualize a slow, winding path. It is smooth and gentle, curving softly to the left, then continuing its graceful arc. This is the path into sleep. It does not demand that you arrive anywhere instantly. It simply asks you to follow the curve, step by gentle step, drifting deeper into relaxation with every turn. As we begin, let yourself settle into your own space. Feel the weight of your body resting, supported by the gravity that holds the planets in their orbits and the stars in their galaxies. Let your breathing find a rhythm, like the slow, rhythmic tides that are pulled by the moon across the dark oceans of Earth. Inhale and picture a spiral expanding, opening up to the universe. Exhale and picture it coiling back in, safe and secure, protecting the quiet center of your mind. We are going to count down, not with numbers of urgency, but with facts of wonder. 100 relaxing facts about the spiral, winding us down toward the center of dreams. But we will take our time. There is no rush here. In the world of the spiral, the journey is the destination. The concept of the spiral is ancient, etched into our collective memory before we even had words to describe it. It is the symbol of the eternal return. Think of the seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter, and back to spring. It is not a circle, because when spring returns, we are in a new year, a new time. We have moved forward along the axis of time, yet we have returned to the same point on the curve. This is the helix. This is the spiral. It tells us that we can always return to a place of peace, but we return with new wisdom, new softness. Tonight, you are returning to sleep.
It is a familiar place, a comfortable place, yet tonight's sleep is unique. It is a new loop on the spiral of your life. So let us unwind. Imagine the tension in your shoulders is a tightly coiled spring. Slowly, gently, let that spring loosen. Watch it expand. Watch the coils drift apart, creating space. Space for breath, space for silence. Let that sensation of unwinding travel down your arms, into your hands, unwinding the muscles of your fingers. Let it travel down your spine, vertebra by vertebra, loosening the knot, lengthening the cord. You are becoming loose. You are becoming fluid. You are entering the flow of the spiral. We begin our collection of facts in the ancient world where the curve was first studied not just as art, but as a fundamental truth of geometry. Let us drift back in time to the sun-drenched shores of Sicily, to the city of Syracuse in the 3rd century BC. Here we meet our first guide, the great thinker Archimedes. Imagine him, an old man with a beard white as sea foam, sitting on the warm golden sand. The Mediterranean Sea laps gently at the shore. Shh, shh, a rhythmic metronome for his thoughts. He is holding a simple stick, perhaps a piece of driftwood smooth from the waves. He clears a patch of sand, sweeping away the footprints of the day, creating a blank slate. Archimedes was a man who loved the purity of shapes. He looked at the chaotic world and saw the order underneath. And on this day, he is thinking about a point moving. This brings us to the first relaxing fact. The Archimedean spiral is defined by a beautiful, simple relationship between distance and rotation. Imagine a point, let's call it a small, slow beetle, crawling along a straight line. The beetle moves at a steady, leisurely pace. It does not hurry. Step, step, step.
Now, imagine that the line itself is rotating. It is turning around a fixed center point, like the hand of a clock, but much slower. If the beetle stood still, the rotation would draw a circle. If the line stood still, the beetle would draw a straight line. But because both are moving, the beetle crawling outward, the line turning inward, they create a spiral. It is a collaboration of motions. It is a harmony of going and turning. Archimedes wrote a treatise called On Spirals. In it, he didn't use complex equations with flashing cursors. He used words. He used logic. He described this curve as the perfect balance of linear motion and angular motion. Visualize the shape he draws in the sand. It starts at the center, it winds out. 1 loop, 2 loops, 3 loops. The most soothing property of the Archimedean spiral is that the distance between the loops is always the same. It is constant, it is predictable. Think of a coil of rope lying on the wooden deck of a ship. The rope is thick, made of golden hemp, warming in the afternoon sun. A sailor has coiled it perfectly flat. Each ring of the rope lies snug against the one before it. There are no gaps. There is no overlapping. It is a spiral of perfect order. The distance from one strand to the next is the width of the rope, and it never changes. As you trace the rope with your eyes, starting from the center and winding out, your gaze travels a smooth, rhythmic path, round and round, even and steady. This is the Archimedean spiral. It represents consistency. It tells us that no matter how far we travel from the center, the rhythm of our life can remain steady. We do not need to accelerate. We can maintain our pace, loop after loop, expanding our world while keeping our spacing constant. There is a tactile pleasure in drawing this shape. Imagine you are holding a piece of chalk. You are standing before a large, clean blackboard. The room is quiet. You place the chalk in the center. You begin to move your hand. You are not just using your fingers, you are using your whole arm, your shoulder, your breath. You let your arm swing in a natural curve. The chalk makes a soft scratching sound, a pink noise that hushes the thoughts in your head.
scritch, scritch. The line grows. It curves to the right. You widen the arc. You cross the axis, but you are further out now. You continue the motion. The spiral grows larger, filling the black space with a white ribbon of geometry. There is no end to this drawing. You could continue until the spiral moves off the board, onto the wall, out the window, into the sky. It is an open curve. A circle is closed. It locks you in. A square is a box. It hems you in. But a spiral is open. It is a door that is always slightly ajar, inviting the infinite to enter. It suggests that there is always more space, always more time. Let us leave the sunny beach of Syracuse and travel further back in time and further north, to the Emerald Hills of Ireland. Here, the air is cool and crisp. The grass is wet with dew. We are standing before a massive mound of earth and stone, older than the pyramids of Giza. This is Newgrange. The ancient people who built this place, over 5,000 years ago, were masters of the spiral. They did not write books. They wrote in stone. At the entrance to the tomb, there is a massive curbstone, a gray megalith lying heavy in the grass. Carved into its surface is a triskel, a triple spiral. Fact number 5. The spiral is one of the oldest symbols of human spirituality. When you look at the Newgrange stone, you see 3 spirals swirling together, flowing into one another. They are carved deep into the rock. Imagine running your fingertips along the grooves. The stone is cold and rough, weathered by 50 centuries of rain and wind. But the grooves are smooth. Your finger traces the path, winding in, reaching the center, and then, without lifting your finger, you flow back out and into the next spiral. It is a continuous line. There is no beginning and no end. It is a dance of 3. Some say it represents the earth, the sky, and the sea. Others say it represents birth, life, and death, or perhaps the 3 stages of sleep, the drifting off, the deep dreaming, and the awakening. Whatever it means, the feeling it evokes is one of unity. Everything is connected. The path inward always leads to a path outward. The darkness always leads to the light. And speaking of light, consider the patience of the spiral at Newgrange. Above the entrance is a small opening, a roof box. It is perfectly aligned. For 364 days of the year, the interior of the chamber is plunged in absolute darkness. It waits. It sleeps. It spirals in the quiet dark. But on one morning, the morning of the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, the sun rises over the distant hill. A single beam of golden light pierces the roof box. It travels down the long stone passageway. It strikes the back wall of the chamber.
It illuminates the spirals carved there. For 17 minutes, the spirals dance in the light. The stone glows. The darkness is defeated by the geometry of the sun and the earth. This is the promise of the spiral, that the light will return. It may take time. It may require a long journey through the dark. But the universe turns. The earth spins. The spiral winds. And eventually, inevitably, the light returns to the center. As you lie in the dark tonight, remember the stone at Newgrange. You are in the quiet chamber. You are safe. The darkness is not empty. It is a velvet blanket, a time of waiting, a time of resting. And just as the sun returns to the stone, the morning will return to you. But for now, enjoy the shadow. Enjoy the cool, quiet weight of the stone. Let us return to the feeling of the spiral in our bodies. Fact number 8 teaches us that the spiral is the most efficient way to pack energy into a small space. Think of a spring. When you coil a wire, you are storing potential. You are gathering energy, not to release it explosively, but to hold it. Your body is full of these spirals. The very proteins that make up your muscles are helical. The collagen that gives your skin its strength is a triple helix, just like the carving on the stone. You are built of spirals.
When you curl up in bed, pulling your knees slightly towards your chest, tucking your chin, you are mimicking this ancient shape. You are becoming a spiral. This is the fetal position, the position of the beginning. It is a position of conservation. You are closing the circuit, keeping your warmth, your energy, yourself contained within a safe loop. It is a biological hug. You are hugging yourself with geometry. Let's visualize a potter's wheel. This is another form of the Archimedean spiral in action. The wheel spins, heavy, rhythmic, a low hum. Mm. The potter throws a lump of gray clay onto the center. Smack. She wets her hands. She presses into the clay. As the wheel turns, the clay begins to open. It spirals outward. The walls of the pot rise. Ridges form under her fingers, a continuous spiral groove that travels up the side of the vessel. Watch the wheel spin. It is mesmerizing. The clay is centered. If it were not centered, it would wobble, it would collapse. But because it is perfectly aligned with the axis of rotation, it can grow. It can rise. Sleep is a centering act. It brings you back to your axis. During the day, we wobble. We get pushed off center by stress, by noise, by demands. But tonight, the wheel is slowing down. The clay is settling. You are finding your center again. You are smoothing out the wobbles. The spiral is also a shape of water. Leonardo da Vinci, another great student of nature, was obsessed with the spiral forms in water. He would sit by a stream for hours, sketching the eddies and whirlpools. He called the spiral the cosmic breath. Fact number 10, water naturally seeks a spiral path. It does not like straight lines. Straight lines in a river cause turbulence and friction. But a spiral? A spiral flows. When a river curves, the water moves faster on the outside of the bend and slower on the inside. This creates a corkscrew motion in the current. The water is literally braiding itself as it flows downstream. Imagine you are a leaf floating on a slow, wide river. You are caught in one of these gentle corkscrews. You are not just moving forward, you are slowly rotating, drifting down, then lifting up again. It is a lullaby of motion. You are being rocked by the river. The water supports you completely. There is no effort. You simply surrender to the spiral of the current. Let us move from the physical world of stone and water to the abstract world of numbers. We are entering the realm of the golden ratio. In the year 1202, a man named Leonardo of Pisa, known to his friends as Fibonacci, published a book called Liber Abaci, the Book of Calculation. In a quiet study in Italy, surrounded by parchment and ink, he introduced a sequence of numbers that would unlock the secret code of nature's beauty. He used a gentle metaphor to explain it, a story of rabbits. But let us make it even softer. Imagine a green meadow. It is quiet and still. In this meadow, there is one pair of rabbits. They are small, soft, and quiet. They sit in the grass, twitching their noses. This is the number 1. Time passes. A month goes by. The pair is still there. So we have 1 again. But then life begins to unfold. The pair becomes a family. They have a new pair of babies. Now there are 2 pairs. The number is 2. Another month passes. The first pair has another set of babies. The second pair is growing up. Now there are 3 pairs. The number is 3. The family grows. The older rabbits have new babies. The younger ones mature. The numbers swell gently. 5 pairs, 8 pairs, 13 pairs. Let us count them slowly, letting each number land like a soft drop of rain. 1, 2,
3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. This is the Fibonacci sequence. Each number is the sum of the 2 before it. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. It is a sequence of accumulation. It is a sequence of support. Each number rests on the shoulders of the past to reach the future. It is a comforting thought that nothing is lost. The past is always present, folded into the new number. The 5 holds the 2 and the 3 inside it. The 8 holds the 3 and the 5. We are the sum of all our days, all our moments, gathered together into the present number of now. But the magic of these numbers lies in what happens when you compare them. If you take the number 55 and divide it by 34, or take 89 and divide it by 55, you get a result that gets closer and closer to a specific number, 1.618. This is phi, the golden ratio, the divine proportion. It is an irrational number, which means it goes on forever without repeating. It is infinite. 1.618033987, trailing off into the stardust. Why is this number so relaxing? Because it represents the perfect balance of growth. It is the ratio that allows things to grow larger without losing their shape. It is the mathematics of self-similarity. Let's visualize this as a shape. Imagine a canvas in your mind. It is white and clean. Draw a square. It is a perfect, stable square. Now draw a line down the middle of the base and extend it. We are going to construct a golden rectangle. This rectangle is special. If you were to cut a square off of it, the piece of paper that is left over would be another golden rectangle. Smaller, yes, but the exact same proportions. And if you cut a square off of that one, you get an even smaller golden rectangle. Imagine doing this. Slice. A square falls away. A rectangle remains. Slice. A square falls away. A rectangle remains. Slice. Square. Rectangle. Slice. Square. Rectangle. We are spiraling inward. We are creating a staircase of squares, getting smaller and smaller, descending into the infinite center. Now take an imaginary compass. Place the point on the corner of the first square. Draw a curve connecting the corners. The curve flows through the first square. Then it flows through the second. Then the third. It connects them all in a smooth, sweeping arc. This is the golden spiral. It is the most pleasing curve to the human eye. When we look at it, our brains relax. Scientists have found that we process images with the golden ratio faster and with less effort than any other images. It is as if our brains are hardwired to love this shape. It feels right. It feels easy. When you look at the golden spiral, you are looking at a visual lullaby. The eye follows the curve inward, and it accelerates gently, pulling your attention away from the periphery, away from the chaos of the edges, and guiding it softly to the singular point of rest in the center. Imagine a scroll of parchment, old and yellowed. It is rolled up tight. You begin to unroll it. As you pull the paper, the spiral opens. You are revealing the hidden surface. This is the motion of the golden spiral, unfolding. Tonight, you are unrolling the scroll of the day. You are letting it flatten out. You are examining the curve, acknowledging it, and then letting it roll back up, putting it away. The golden ratio is found in the most peaceful places in nature. It is in the face of the person you love. It is in the spacing of the knuckles on your hand. It is in the shape of an egg. It is in the curve of a breaking wave. Let's stand on the beach again for a moment. The sun is setting, painting the sky in hues of lavender and soft pink. A wave rises out of the deep blue. It lifts up. It begins to curl. The top of the wave travels faster than the bottom. It forms a tunnel of water. Freeze that moment in your mind. The curve of the water, the hollow tube, the falling crest, it is a golden spiral. It is a transient sculpture of mathematics. For 1 second, the ocean solves the equation of phi, creates the perfect shape, and then dissolves it into foam. Crash. And then silence. And then the water recedes, dragging the pebbles with a hiss. And then the next wave begins to form. Rise, curve, spiral, crash. Rest. Rise, curve, spiral, crash. This rhythm is the heartbeat of the planet. It is a fractal rhythm. The big waves have smaller waves on them. The smaller waves have ripples. The ripples have tiny capillary waves. Spirals within spirals, all obeying the same gentle law of 1.618. Let us hold the number 1.618 in our minds like a mantra. 1.618.
8. It is a soft number. The 6 is a soft curve. The 8 is a double loop. The 1 is a standing pillar. Repeat it silently. 1, point, 6, 1, 8. The ratio of rest, the proportion of peace. Now let us take this mathematical perfection and see where it lives in the garden. We are walking into a field of sunflowers.
It is dusk. The air is warm and smells of dry grass and pollen. The great heads of the sunflowers are heavy, bowing their heads as if in prayer. We step up to one of these giant flowers. We look at the center, the dark seeded disc. At first glance, it looks like a textured carpet, but look closer. The seeds are not random, they are arranged in spirals. There are spirals winding clockwise. There are spirals winding counterclockwise. Let's count them. If you count the spirals going one way, you might find there are 34 of them. If you count the spirals going the other way, you might find there are 55. 34 and 55. Two numbers from the Fibonacci sequence. Or, perhaps on a larger flower, you find 55 and 89. Or, on a giant one, 89 and 144. Why does the sunflower do this? It is not doing math for fun, it is doing it for life. This arrangement is the most efficient way to pack seeds. If the seeds were arranged in straight lines, there would be gaps, wasted space, wasted potential. But by spiraling them at an angle related to the golden ratio, specifically at the golden angle of approximately 137.5 degrees, the sunflower ensures that every seed has exactly enough room. No seed is squashed, no seed is loose. They nestle together in perfect packing. This is a comforting fact. Nature makes room for everyone. In the geometry of the sunflower, every single seed has its place. It belongs. You belong. Just as the seed fits perfectly into the spiral of the flower, you fit perfectly into the spiral of the universe. There is a space shaped exactly for you. You do not need to fight for it, you do not need to push others aside. You simply need to grow, to spiral, and you will find your place in the pattern. Imagine the feeling of running your hand over the face of a sunflower. The seeds are bumpy but smooth. They are firm. There is a solidity to the pattern. It feels like a massage for your fingertips. Round and round, the texture of order. Now look down at the ground. There is a pine cone lying in the needles. Pick it up. It is sticky with resin, smelling of sharp, clean pine. Turn it in your hand. Look at the scales. They too spiral. The pine cone is a fortress. The scales are arranged in spirals to protect the seeds inside from the cold and the damp. When the weather is dry and warm, the spiral opens. The scales flex outward, releasing the seeds to the wind. When it is wet and cold, the spiral closes. The scales lock down tight, creating a sealed armor. The spiral is a mechanism of trust. It knows when to open and when to close. Tonight, you can be like the pine cone. You have been open to the world all day. Now it is time to close. Visualize your own scales gently folding down, closing out the noise, closing out the light, closing out the worries. Seal yourself in. Inside, the seed of your dreaming mind is safe. It is warm. It is protected by the geometry of the night. Even the pineapple in the kitchen holds this secret. The rough, diamond-shaped eyes on its skin are arranged in steep spirals. 8 spirals one way, 13 the other. The cauliflower in the fridge. Look at it closely next time. It is a fractal city. Each floret is a mini cauliflower, spiraling around the center. And each of those florets is made of even smaller florets, spiraling again. It is spirals all the way down. Infinite complexity built from simple rules. You do not need to understand the complexity. You only need to trust the rule. And the rule is simple. Grow, turn, repeat. As we leave the garden, let us consider the way plants move. We think of plants as still, but they are constantly moving, just very, very slowly. A young vine reaching for sunlight does not grow straight up. It circles. The tip of the vine traces a slow spiral in the air. It is searching. It is called circumnutation.
It swings around looking for something to hold onto, a branch, a trellis, a wire. When it finds support, it changes. It wraps itself around the object. It forms a helix. It holds on tight. This spiral grip is incredibly strong. It allows the soft, flexible vine to climb high, to reach the canopy, to find the sun. The spiral is a shape of connection. It is how the soft overcomes the hard. It is how the weak find strength. By winding ourselves around our supports, our pillows, our blankets, our routines, we find the stability we need to rest. Feel your blanket wrapping around you. It is your trellis. You are the vine. You are spiraling into the fabric, finding your grip, holding on to the comfort. We have walked the sands of Syracuse. We have touched the cold stone of Newgrange. We have counted the rabbits in the meadow and the seeds in the sunflower. The path winds on. We are only part way through our journey. The spiral continues to deepen. There are shells waiting in the deep ocean. There are hurricanes spinning in the atmosphere. There are galaxies turning in the void.
But for now, let us pause here, at the edge of the garden, with the scent of pine and the memory of the golden numbers. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. Let the numbers drift away like leaves on a stream. The spiral is turning, slowly, gently, leading you down to the next level of rest. Let us leave the solid earth of the garden now. We have rested among the pine cones and the sunflowers, felt the rough bark of the trees and the warmth of the soil. It is time to move to a place where the spiral is not just a shape of growth, but a shape of movement. We are going to the water. Imagine you are standing on a shoreline. It is night. The moon is full, casting a silver path across the dark, heaving ocean. The waves are rolling in, one after another, in a rhythm that matches your breathing. Inhale, the wave rises. Exhale, the wave breaks and rushes onto the sand. Watch the wave as it breaks. For a fleeting second, as the water rises up and curls over, it forms a perfect tunnel. It is a cylinder of liquid glass, spinning, crashing. In that moment of suspension, the water is tracing a spiral. It is the shape of surrender. The wave gives up its height, its form, to return to the level of the sea. Beneath these waves, in the deep, quiet blue where the sunlight fades into an eternal twilight, lives one of nature's oldest architects, the chambered Nautilus. Fact number 39 introduces us to this living fossil. The Nautilus has been patrolling the deep reefs for nearly 500 million years. It was here before the dinosaurs walked the earth. It was here before the flowers we just visited even existed. It has watched the continents drift apart and crash together, all while floating quietly in the dark, building its perfect spiral home. Picture the shell of the Nautilus. It is smooth, cool to the touch. It is painted with tiger stripes of reddish-brown and creamy white, a camouflage that hides it from predators above and below. But the true wonder is inside. If you were to slice this shell open, gentle, respecting the life within, you would see a spiral of rooms. The Nautilus begins life with a shell of only 4 tiny chambers. As it grows, its soft body becomes too large for its living quarters. So it built a new, larger wall. It seals off the old small room behind it and moves forward into the new spacious one. It does this again and again throughout its life, building roughly 30 chambers. It always lives in the present, in the largest, newest room, the body chamber. But it carries its past with it, a spiraling tale of empty rooms, each one a perfect geometric memory of a younger self. This brings us to a detail that is purely relaxing in its ingenuity. The chambers are not empty. They are filled with gas and liquid. Running through the center of the spiral, piercing the walls of every single chamber, is a tube of living tissue called the siphuncle. This is the Nautilus's secret. Through this tube, the creature can adjust the salt content of its blood, creating an osmotic pressure that slowly pumps water out of the old chambers and replaces it with gas. It is a silent chemical pump.
By changing the balance of gas and liquid, the Nautilus changes its buoyancy. It can float up toward the moonlit surface to feed, or sink down into the abyssal dark to hide, simply by adjusting the fluids in its spiral. It is a submarine built of mother of pearl. Imagine floating like the Nautilus. You do not need to swim. You do not need to struggle. You simply adjust your internal state, letting go of the heavy waters of the day, filling your spirit with lighter thoughts, and you drift. You drift up, you drift down, suspended in the cool, comforting medium of sleep. The shape of the Nautilus shell is special. It is not just any spiral. It is a logarithmic spiral. This curve captivated the mathematicians of the 17th century. Fact number 42 brings us to the story of Jacob Bernoulli. He was a Swiss mathematician who was so enchanted by this shape that he gave it a name, Spira mirabilis, the miraculous spiral. Bernoulli noticed something profound about this curve. In an Archimedean spiral, like the rope coiled on the deck, the shell would get wider and wider as it turned. But the logarithmic spiral is different. As it grows, it gets larger, yes, but its shape never changes. It is self-similar. If you take a small Nautilus shell and a large Nautilus shell, they look exactly the same, just scaled up. The proportions are identical. Bernoulli was so moved by this concept of constant shape amidst change that he asked for a logarithmic spiral to be carved on his tombstone. He chose a Latin motto to go with it, Eadem mutata resurgo. Though changed, I arise the same. Think about those words as you lie in bed. Eadem mutata resurgo. It is the motto of sleep. Tonight you will change. Your body will repair itself.
Your mind will sort through the memories of the day, filing them away in the chambers of your own history. You will drift into the strange, non-linear world of dreams. You will be changed by the night. But in the morning, when the light returns, you will arise the same. You will still be you. You are an equiangular spiral, growing through time, expanding your experience, yet always retaining the core essence of yourself. Bernoulli's tombstone, which you can still visit in a quiet cathedral in Basel, actually has a mistake on it. The stonemason, poor fellow, didn't understand the math. He carved a simple Archimedean spiral, a coil of rope, instead of the expanding logarithmic curve Bernoulli wanted. But the words remain, and the meaning remains. We spiral into sleep. We spiral out to waking, always returning, always continuing the curve. Let us pick up a different shell from the imaginary beach, a conch shell, heavy, thick, with a pink interior that glows like the sunset. Hold it in your hand. Feel the weight of it. Now, slowly lift it to your ear. What do you hear? A low, rushing sound. Whoosh, whoosh. We are told as children that we are hearing the ocean, that the shell has captured the sound of the waves and is playing them back to us. It is a beautiful myth. The truth, fact number 45, is perhaps even more intimate. The shell is a resonator. The hard, smooth, spiraling inner surfaces of the shell are reflecting the ambient noise of the room, the hum of the air, the beat of your own heart, the rush of your own blood in your fingertips, and amplifying certain frequencies. You are not hearing the ocean. You are hearing the quiet music of your own existence. The spiral is tuning you in to the background noise of life that you usually ignore. It filters the chaos and gives you back a steady, comforting white noise. Listen to that sound in your mind, the pink noise, the static of the universe. It is a blanket of sound, smoothing out the sharp edges of silence. Look at the shell in your hand again. Which way does it spiral? If you hold it with the point up, does the opening wrap around to the right or the left? Almost all shells, in every ocean of the world, spiral to the right. They are dextral. It is a rare and precious thing to find a sinistral, or left-handed shell. This preference for one direction is called chirality, or handedness. Nature is not ambivalent. She chooses a path.
From the spin of the subatomic particles to the coil of the snail shell, there is a favored direction of flow. This suggests that the universe has an orientation. It is not just a random scattering of events. There is a flow. There is a grain to the cosmos. When you relax, you are going with the grain. You are spiraling to the right, following the path that billions of creatures have followed before you. You are swimming downstream. Now, let us step off the sand and into the water itself. Let us dissolve into the fluid. Fluids love spirals. It is their natural way of moving. When water needs to move from a wide space to a narrow space, it does not queue up in straight lines. It spirals. Fact number 51, the vortex. Picture your bathtub. You have pulled the plug. The water is deep and still. Slowly, a dimple forms on the surface. It deepens. It begins to rotate, faster and faster. It creates a hollow funnel of air, a silver cord connecting the surface to the drain. This is the path of least resistance. The water organizes itself into a spiral to maximize flow. It is an act of efficiency. But it is also an act of balance. The water on the outside moves slow and high. The water on the inside moves fast and low. The spiral mediates between these two states. It is the bridge between potential and action. Watch the vortex in your mind. It is stable. It is mesmerizing. If you were to drop a small leaf into the water, it would circle the edge, slowly spiraling in, faster, faster, until it slips quietly down and away. Let your heavy thoughts be that leaf. Let them circle. Do not push them away. Just watch them spin closer and closer to the center until they slip down the drain, gone, leaving the surface of your mind smooth and glass-like once more. Let us rise up from the bathtub, up from the ocean, into the air. The air is a fluid too. It is just thinner, lighter, and it moves in spirals that are vast and majestic. Look at a satellite image of the Earth. Look at the clouds. You will see great white spirals covering half a continent. These are the cyclones, the hurricanes, the typhoons. They are heat engines. They take the warmth of the tropical ocean and spin it into the cool upper atmosphere. While these storms can be fierce, from a distance, they are things of slow, hypnotic beauty. They turn counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. This is the Coriolis effect. Because the Earth is spinning, the air is deflected.
The planet is turning under the wind, causing the wind to curve. You are a spinning sphere right now. You don't feel it, but you are rotating at 1,000 miles an hour. The spiral of the storm is the visible proof of our journey through space. Imagine being in the very center of one of these great cloud spirals, the eye. The wall of the storm is miles away, towering white cliffs of cloud. But here, in the center, the air is still. The sun is shining, the sea is confused but calm. The spiral creates a sanctuary in its center. No matter how fast the world is spinning around you, there is always a still point in the middle. You are in that eye now. The world can spin. The news can cycle. The demands can rotate. You are in the 0 point. You are safe. There is a specific type of cloud spiral that is rare and incredibly soothing to watch. It is called a Kármán vortex street. Fact number 58. Imagine a lonely island rising out of a flat ocean. The wind is blowing steadily from the north. As the wind hits the island, it has to flow around it. It splits, and as it rejoins on the other side, it creates a series of swirling eddies. First, a swirl to the left, then a swirl to the right, then left, then right. From space, it looks like a zipper in the clouds. It looks like a braid of white vapor stretching for hundreds of miles downwind of the island. These vortices drift slowly, dissolving into the blue. If you were standing on that island and there were telephone wires strung between poles, the wind passing over them would create tiny, invisible versions of these vortices.
These tiny spirals shedding off the wire create a vibration. They make the wire sing. This is the Aeolian harp. The wind is playing the world like an instrument. A low, mournful, steady hum. It is the song of the spiral. It is the sound of the air folding over itself. Let that hum vibrate in your chest, a frequency of pure relaxation. We have explored the shells of the deep and the clouds of the high air. Now let us turn our gaze inward. Let us look at the spirals that build us. We are walking into the library of life. Fact number 63, the double helix. In 1953, the world saw the structure of DNA for the first time. It was not a ladder. It was a twisted ladder. Two strands winding around each other, embracing in a perpetual hug. This spiral is incredibly small. It is only 2 nanometers wide. But if you were to unwind the DNA from a single cell in your body, it would stretch out to be 2 meters long. If you unwound all the DNA in all your cells and tied it together, it would reach to the sun and back hundreds of times. You are a creature of infinite length coiled into a finite space. The spiral is the solution to the problem of existence. How do you fit a universe of information into a microscopic room? You twist it. You coil it. This coiling makes the molecule stable. It protects the genetic code on the inside, shielding the secrets of life with a backbone of sugar and phosphate. Deep in the nucleus of every cell in your body, right now, while you sleep, your DNA is holding the blueprint of you. It is holding the instructions for your eye color, your laughter, your need for rest. It holds these secrets in a spiral embrace. There is something safe about the double helix. It is 2 strands. They are complementary. Where one has a bump, the other has a hollow. They fit. They belong together. It is the geometry of partnership. Move from the cell to the ear. We spoke of the shell listening to the ocean, but the ear is a shell. Deep inside your skull, protected by the hardest bone in your body, lies the cochlea. It is a tiny, fluid-filled tube coiled into a spiral of 2.5 turns. It looks exactly like a snail shell. This is where sound becomes meaning. When I speak to you, my voice travels as a wave through the air. It hits your eardrum, it vibrates 3 tiny bones, and then it knocks on the door of the cochlea. The fluid inside ripples, and here is the magic. The cochlea is a frequency analyzer. High-pitched sounds, the chirp of a cricket, the rustle of leaves, vibrate the base of the spiral. Low-pitched sounds, the rumble of thunder, the deep notes of a cello, travel all the way up to the apex, the center of the spiral. Your body maps sound onto a spiral. You are literally spiraling the world into your brain. Think of a piece of music that relaxes you, a slow cello suite. Visualize those low, warm notes traveling deep into the center of your inner ear, curling in, resonating in the heart of the spiral. Whatever you hear tonight, let it be filtered by this spiral. Let the harsh noises fall away at the entrance. Let only the deep, resonant, soothing vibrations reach the center of your awareness. Look at your fingertips. Hold your hand up in the dark. You cannot see the details, but you know they are there. The ridges of your skin, the fingerprints. Fact number 70, whorls.
On the tips of your fingers, the skin forms spirals. Roughly 30% of people have pure spiral patterns on their fingertips. Why? To help us grip, to increase friction, to help us feel texture. The spiral allows us to hold on to the world. But tonight, you are letting go. You are ungripping. Relax your hands. Let the fingers curl naturally. Imagine the spirals on your fingertips softening. They are no longer needing to sense the rough texture of the day. They are touching only the soft sheets, the smooth pillow. There is a spiral on the crown of your head too, the hair whorl, the point from which your hair grows. It spirals out, usually in a clockwise direction. It is as if you were spun into existence, as if the potter's hand touched the top of your head and set you spinning on the wheel of life. You are a collection of spirals. Spirals in your cells, spirals in your ears, spirals on your skin. You are made of the same geometry as the galaxy. And so, we lift off. We leave the atmosphere. We pass the moon. We pass the planets. We leave the solar system behind. We are floating in the intergalactic void. It is quiet here. The blackness is absolute, save for the islands of light drifting in the distance. Fact number 76. The Spiral Galaxy. Our home, the Milky Way, is a barred spiral galaxy. If you could look down on it from above, you would see a glowing bar of yellow light in the center, millions of old, warm stars. And trailing off the ends of this bar are the great spiral arms. The Scutum Centaurus arm, the Perseus arm, the Orion arm, where we live. These arms are blue, they are bright, they are dusted with the dark lanes of cosmic dust. The galaxy is rotating, but it is slow, oh so slow. It takes the sun, and us with it, about 250 million years to make one single orbit around the center. This is a cosmic year. The last time we were here, in this part of the spiral, the dinosaurs were just appearing. The Atlantic Ocean was just a narrow crack in the earth. The next time we are here, who knows what we will be? The spiral teaches us patience. It operates on timescales that make our daily worries vanish. A bad day, a sleepless night, it is nothing. It is a flicker of a photon in the grand rotation of the galaxy. You are held in this massive, slow-moving arm. Gravity is holding you. You are not falling, you are orbiting. There is a sensation of weightlessness in this thought. You are suspended in a river of stars. But here is a wondrous fact about these spiral arms. They are not solid. Fact number 80. The density wave theory. Think of a traffic jam on a highway. The cars slow down, they bunch up, the density increases. Then they speed up and move out of the jam. The traffic jam itself stays in the same place or moves very slowly backward, while the cars flow through it. The spiral arms of the galaxy are cosmic traffic jams. Stars, gas, and dust move into the arm. They slow down. They get crunched together. This compression squeezes the gas clouds. They collapse and pop. New stars are born. The spiral arms are the nurseries of the universe. They are where the light is turned on. Then the stars move out of the arm, drifting into the darker, quieter spaces between the spirals. Our sun is currently passing through a quiet spur. We are in the space between the major arms. We are in the relaxation zone of the galaxy. We are not in the crush of the traffic jam. We are on the open road, cruising through the dark, quiet calm. We are safe here. As we drift further out, the galaxies begin to look like tiny pinwheels. Little swirls of light in the ocean of the dark. Billions of them. Some are tightly wound. Some are loose and lazy. Some are interacting. Two spirals brushing against each other, sharing stars, dancing a slow waltz of gravity that takes 1 billion years to complete. It is a dance of grace. There is no violence here, only the slow, inevitable folding of light. And now we reach the edge of what we can see. We reach the edge of the physical. We enter the realm of the infinite. Fact number 89. The fractal. In the 1980s, a mathematician named Benno Mandelbrot used computers to visualize an equation. The result was the Mandelbrot set. It looks like a dark, beetle-shaped figure surrounded by a halo of psychedelic colors. But if you zoom in on the edge of this shape, you see spirals. And if you zoom in on the spirals, you see more spirals. Seahorse tails, elephant trunks, double helixes. You can zoom in forever, literally forever. The complexity never ends. The pattern repeats over and over at deeper and deeper levels. It is a universe within a universe. This is the landscape of the dream world. When you dream, you are entering a fractal. One thought leads to another,
One scene unfolds into the next, with no beginning and no end. It is a place where you can fall without hitting the ground. Imagine falling into a fractal spiral now.
The colors are soft, indigo, violet, slate gray. The motion is slow and liquid. You are drifting down into the pattern. As you get closer to a spiral, it opens up and reveals it is made of 1,000 smaller spirals. You drift into one of those, and it opens up, deeper and deeper. Consider Zeno's paradox. To walk across a room, you must first go halfway. Then you must go half of the remaining distance, then half of that, and half of that. Mathematically, you never quite arrive. You just get infinitely close. This is the spiral of sleep. You are getting closer. Halfway to sleep. Halfway again. Halfway again. You are sliding down the asymptote of consciousness. The curve is getting closer to the line of rest. It is a gentle approach. You do not hit sleep like a wall. You merge with it. You become parallel to it. You become the silence. We have walked a long path tonight, my friend. We started with a stick in the sand at Syracuse. We traced the grooves of the ancient stone at Newgrange. We watched the sunflowers turn their heads to the sun. We floated with the Nautilus in the deep. We listened to the wind singing on the wires. We felt the double helix twisting in our cells. We orbited with the stars in the Milky Way. And now we are drifting in the infinite fractal of the night. The spiral is the map. It tells us that the journey is not a straight line from birth to death, from wake to sleep. It is a curve. It circles back. It visits the past, but on a new level. It holds us in a safe embrace. There are no sharp corners in a spiral. There are no jagged edges to hurt you. There is only the flow. The smooth, continuous, unending flow. Let the image of the spiral fill your mind one last time. Maybe it is a golden spiral. Maybe it is a blue galaxy. Maybe it is a white cloud. It is turning slowly. Clockwise or counterclockwise, it does not matter. It is unwinding the tension. It is winding up the peace. You are at the center. The storm is outside. The noise is outside. The traffic jam of the stars is outside. Here, in the center, it is still. It is quiet. It is dark. Fact number 100. The spiral ends at a point, but the point is a doorway. The center of the spiral is where the physical dimension ends and the dream dimension begins. You have arrived at the point. You are passing through the doorway. Everything is soft now. Everything is mathematics. Everything is music. Sleep now. Drift on the curve. Trust the geometry. Good night, and infinite dreams. We have drifted through the stars, my friend, and we have felt the slow, majestic rotation of the galaxies. We have seen how the spiral arms of the Milky Way cradle the birth of suns, and how the density waves move through the cosmos like a silent, rhythmic breath. But now we must leave the realm of the physical. We must leave the atoms, the stars, the shells, and the petals behind. We are entering the final frontier of our journey. We are entering the realm of the abstract. We are entering the world of infinite spirals, fractals, and the mathematics of the dream world. Here, in the quiet space of the mind, the laws of physics give way to the laws of pure logic and infinite imagination. This brings us to fact number 89, the fractal. In the 1970s, a mathematician named Benoit Mandelbrot looked at the world and saw that the smooth shapes of classical geometry, the perfect circles and triangles of Euclid, did not match the rough, textured reality of nature. Clouds are not spheres, mountains are not cones, and coastlines are not circles. They are rough, but they are not messy. They have a pattern.
Mandelbrot discovered that if you look at these rough shapes closely, you see the same pattern repeating over and over again at smaller and smaller scales. This is called self-similarity. And when he used a computer to visualize a simple equation, z equals z squared plus c, he opened a door to a universe of infinite beauty. He discovered the Mandelbrot set. Visualize this shape in your mind. It sits in a sea of deep, calming blue. It is a dark, cardioid shape, somewhat like a heart or a beetle, surrounded by a halo of shifting colors: indigo, violet, teal, and soft gold. But the magic happens at the edges. If you were to zoom in on the edge of this shape, magnifying it 1,000 times, you would not see a smooth line. You would see spirals. These are not just any spirals. They are seahorse tails. Fact number 90 tells us about the Valley of the Seahorses. It is a specific region on the map of this mathematical object. Here, the numbers spiral out in tendrils that look exactly like the curled tails of shy sea creatures. As you zoom in deeper, each seahorse tail is made of smaller seahorse tails, and those are made of even smaller ones. Imagine falling gently into this pattern. There is no bottom. You can zoom in for eternity. The spiral repeats forever, a cascade of self-similar shapes tumbling down into the infinite.
It is the visual definition of a lullaby, a pattern that repeats, soft and familiar, rocking you deeper and deeper into the numbers. This leads us to a soothing paradox, fact number 91. A fractal spiral can have a finite area but an infinite perimeter. Think about that for a moment. The shape fits inside a box. It takes up a limited amount of space. You could hold it in your hand. And yet, the line that defines its edge is infinitely long. If you were to walk along the shoreline of the Mandelbrot set, tracing every nook and cranny, every spiral and subspiral, you would never finish your walk. You would walk forever. In the dream world, this makes perfect sense. The night is finite. It lasts only a few hours. But the dreams you can have within it are infinite. The depth of your rest is boundless. You are entering a space that is small on the outside, just a room, just a bed, but infinite on the inside. You can wander along the coastline of sleep forever, exploring the quiet bays and the spiraling peninsulas of your own subconscious. Let us drift to another kind of spiral, one that engineers and architects use to create smoothness. Fact number 92. The Euler spiral, also known as the clothoid. Imagine you are on a train, a very comfortable, old-fashioned sleeper train. You are lying in a soft bunk, listening to the rhythmic click-clack of the wheels on the tracks. The train is moving along a straight track, but up ahead there is a curve. If the train went straight from a line into a circle, you would feel a jerk. It would be abrupt. The centrifugal force would hit you all at once. But engineers are kind. They use the Euler spiral to connect the straight line to the curve. This spiral is the shape of transition. Its curvature increases linearly with its length. It starts as a straight line, and then, imperceptibly, it begins to curve. It curves a little more, and a little more, until it perfectly matches the circle. You do not feel the transition. One moment you are moving straight, and the next you are gently turning. The Euler spiral is the geometry of easing in. It is the mathematical description of falling asleep. You do not jump from being awake to being asleep. You travel along a clothoid. Your thoughts begin to curve. The straight lines of logic begin to bend. The linear narrative of the day softens into the nonlinear imagery of the dream. You are on the train, and the track is curving so gently that you don't even notice when you have left the waking world behind. Fact number 93 brings us to the strange attractor. This sounds mysterious, but in the mathematics of chaos theory, it is a concept of great order. Edward Lorenz, studying the weather, found that complex systems often settle into a pattern. They don't repeat exactly, but they stay within a certain shape. They are attracted to a state of equilibrium. The most famous of these is the Lorenz attractor. Visually, it looks like a butterfly with its wings open, or a mask with two large eye holes. A point,
representing the state of the system, spirals around one wing, loops out, and then spirals around the other wing. It goes back and forth, weaving a beautiful figure-8 spiral in 3 dimensions. Think of your mind as that point. All day it has been flying around, chaotic and busy. But now it is settling into the attractor. It spirals around the wing of wakefulness, slower and slower. Then it crosses over the center. It begins to spiral around the wing of sleep. It might drift back for a moment, remembering a thought, but the gravity of the attractor pulls it back to the sleep side. Round and round, winding down. The loops get tighter. The butterfly folds its wings. The chaos resolves into a steady, rhythmic breathing. Let us consider the spiral of sound, or rather, the spiral of silence. Fact number 94 concerns the Nautilus, or the shepherd's crook spiral. Unlike the Nautilus shell, which gets wider as it goes out, the Nautilus gets closer and closer to a line as it expands. It looks like a trumpet bell. Imagine a sound played on this trumpet, a low, warm note. As it travels out of the bell, the sound waves expand. They spread out. They become thinner, softer, more diffuse. The energy of the sound is dispersed into the air until it becomes part of the background silence. This is a model for your thoughts. Take a thought, any thought, that is lingering in your mind. Visualize it traveling down the Nautilus spiral. It starts tight and defined. But as it spirals out, it widens. It loses its density. It spreads into the ether. It becomes a mist. The structure of the thought dissolves into the geometry of the spiral, leaving only a quiet, fading vibration. Fact number 95 takes us to the world of art and illusion. The artist M.C. Escher was fascinated by spirals. He drew sphere surface with spirals, a woodcut where a ribbon peels off the surface of a sphere, winding endlessly.
He drew staircases that ascend and descend in a loop. In the dream world, we can walk down a spiral staircase that never ends. But this is not a nightmare. It is a comfort. It means there is always another step. You do not have to reach the bottom. You do not have to achieve anything. You simply have to take the next step. The spiral is a promise of continuity. The ground will always be there to meet your foot. Step, step, step. The rhythm of the walking becomes the rhythm of the sleeping. We are approaching the end of our list, moving deeper into the core of the mystery. Fact number 96. The limit. In calculus, we talk about a limit, a value that a function approaches but never quite reaches, or perhaps it reaches it only at infinity. Zeno, the ancient philosopher, gave us a paradox. He said that to cross a room, you must first go halfway. Then you must go half the remaining distance, then half of that, and so on. Mathematically, there are infinite halves. Tonight, let us use this paradox as a relaxation technique. Visualize the distance between you and deep sleep. Go halfway there. You are relaxing. Go half the remaining distance. You are heavy. Go half again. Your eyes are closed. Half again. Your breathing is slow. Half again. Thoughts are blurring. You are sliding down the spiral of the limit. You are getting infinitely close to the 0 point. You are skimming the surface of the asymptote. It is a gentle, sliding sensation. You are always moving towards rest, always getting closer, deeper, softer. Fact number 97. The vertex. In geometry, the vertex is the point where curves meet. In a spiral, the vertex is the center point, the origin, the singularity. Everything we have talked about tonight, the galaxies, the shells, the flowers, the storms, they all emanate from a vertex. They all spin around a single point of stillness. You have a vertex. It is the center of your being. It is the place inside you that does not change. It is the quiet observer behind your eyes. It is the silence beneath your thoughts. The spiral of your life spins around this center. The days pass, the years turn, the seasons cycle, but the center remains. Tonight, you are returning to the vertex. You are not your job. You are not your worries. You are not your history. You are simply the point of awareness at the center of the spin.
Fact number 98. The spiral of time. We often think of time as a straight line, an arrow flying from the past to the future. But ancient cultures and modern physicists know that time has a cyclic nature. The Earth rotates, the Moon orbits, the year returns. But it is not a closed circle, because things change. It is a helix. We move forward, but we cycle through the same patterns. The sleep you are entering now is not a new thing. It is the same sleep you have known since you were a child. It is an old friend. You are returning to a place you have visited thousands of times before. It is familiar. It is safe. You know the way. You do not need a map. The spiral of your own biology carries you there. Fact number 99. The concept of unwinding. Topologically, a spiral is a line that has been wound up. To relax is literally to unwind. Imagine a clock spring that has been wound tight. It holds tension. It holds potential energy. Now imagine the release mechanism is triggered, slowly, controlled. The spring begins to expand. The metal relaxes. The coils separate. The energy is released. Feel this unwinding in your solar plexus. Feel it in your chest. The tight coil of the day is loosening. The loops are getting bigger, softer, lazier. You are unwinding into the mattress. You are taking up more space. You are expanding into the night. And finally, fact number 100. The final fact is not a number, but a feeling. The spiral eventually disappears into the point. When you draw a spiral inward, the line gets thinner, the curve gets tighter, until eventually the pencil stops moving. It rests on the paper. The motion ceases. The geometry is complete. The 100th fact is that the spiral leads to silence. All the math, all the physics, all the biology we have discussed tonight, it was all just a path. It was a winding road designed to bring you here, to this moment, to this stillness, to this singular point of rest. We have reached the center of the labyrinth. We have walked the path of Archimedes. We have traced the golden ratio. We have floated with the Nautilus. We have spun with the galaxy. We have drifted through the fractal. Now, let us look back at the path one last time before we let it go. Remember the feeling of the chalk on the slate. Scritch, scritch. The white line curving on the black stone. Remember the heavy golden rope on the ship's deck, warm in the sun, coiled in perfect order. Remember the sunflower, nodding its heavy head in the twilight, its seeds packed in the geometry of comfort.
Remember the pine cone, sealing itself up against the cold, protecting the life inside. Remember the ocean, the rhythmic breaking of the waves. Hush, hush. Remember the shell, the smooth, cool porcelain of the deep, spiraling into the dark. Remember the storm, spinning slowly over the blue earth, with the quiet eye in the center. Remember the DNA, the twisted ladder of life that holds you together. Remember the stars, the great arms of the Milky Way, turning with a patience that spans eons. Remember the fractal, the infinite cascade of patterns, softer and softer, deeper and deeper. They are all one. They are all part of the great turning dance of the universe. And you are part of it too. You are not separate from the spiral. You are inside it. You are safe. Now we begin the final descent. I want you to visualize the spiral of sleep one last time. This time it is made of light, soft, warm, amber light. It is hovering in the darkness behind your eyelids. It is turning slowly, so slowly that you can barely see the motion. We are going to count down from 10, and with each number, we will take one step down this spiral staircase of light. One step deeper into the velvet void. One step closer to the infinite dream. 10. The first step is easy. You let go of the room around you. The walls dissolve. The ceiling opens up to the stars.
You are floating in the safe, quiet dark. 9. You let go of your body. Your legs are heavy. Your arms are heavy. Your hands are open, fingers curled softly like the fern. The tension evaporates from your muscles. 8. You let go of the sounds, the wind outside, the hum of the house, the beat of your heart. They are all drifting away, becoming part of the background silence. The Litu spiral is widening, dispersing the noise. 7. You let go of the day, the conversations, the tasks, the lists. They are fading. They are traffic jams in a galaxy far, far away. You are in the quiet space between the arms. 6. You are going deeper now. The light of the spiral is getting softer. It is turning to a deep, restful indigo, the color of the deep ocean, the color of the night sky. 5. Halfway down, Zeno's limit is approaching. You are sliding along the smooth curve of the Euler spiral. There are no bumps here, just a gentle, continuous glide into rest. 4. Your breathing is slow, in and out. The pendulum swings. The wave rises and falls. You are synchronized with the rhythm of the universe. 3. You are approaching the center. The coils are loose. The spring is unwound. There is nothing left to do. There is nowhere left to go. You have arrived. 2. The point of singularity is ahead, a tiny spark of pure peace, the vertex of the dream. You reach out for it. You drift toward it. 1. You merge with the center. The spiral stops turning. The line disappears. There is only the quiet. There is only the dark. There is only the deep, restorative ocean of sleep. You are a point of light in the infinite fractal of the night, held by the math, cradled by the cosmos, loved by the geometry of existence. Sleep now. Let the numbers fade. Let the shapes dissolve. Drift, float, dream. Infinite dreams, my friend. Infinite dreams.